The galaxy has never felt this unstable, and in Episode 5 of Foundation Season 3, the first moments pull you into a storm of political chaos, desperate alliances, and the kind of secret moves that could reshape the entire future. It's the calm before a storm, but the air is heavy, almost suffocating, because everyone seems to know something big is about to happen. No one says it outright, but every glance, every hesitant pause, every small act hints that a dangerous truth is lurking. Just beyond the surface? This episode wastes no time reminding us that in the world of Foundation, one wrong step doesn't just cost lives. It can shatter empires. We pick up right where Episode 4 left us hanging. The echoes of past battles still linger, but now the stakes are higher than ever. The Empire stands like a towering figure on fragile legs, with cracks spreading through the dynasty that has ruled for centuries. Brother Day tries to project his usual authority, but the confidence feels forced, almost brittle, as if he knows control is slipping away from his grasp. Every decision he makes now feels like a gamble, and the slightest miscalculation could bring the whole structure crashing down. His closest advisors keep their expressions neutral, but behind their calm eyes there's a glimmer of doubt that could turn into betrayal at any moment. Across the stars, the Foundation's leaders face their own storm. Harry Seldon's vision has always been the guiding light, but now that light seems to flicker. Gal and Salver stand at the center of this uncertainty, each with their own idea of what the next step should be. The tension between them isn't open hostility, but it's enough to shift the mood in every meeting. Salver wants to take immediate action, to strike before the Empire grows stronger, while Gal warns that rushing in could destroy everything they've worked for. These disagreements aren't just about strategy, they're about trust. And trust in this galaxy is as rare as peace. Meanwhile, rumors ripple through the Outer Rim. Entire sectors speak of a gathering resistance, a force growing quietly. In the shadows, led by someone whose name is whispered but never spoken too loudly. This leader, whoever they are, seems to know the Empire's weaknesses better than anyone else. The whispers say they have a plan that could cripple the dynasty's grip on the galaxy, but plans this dangerous always come at a price. What's more unsettling is that the Foundation itself might not be ready for the shockwaves this rebellion could unleash. As Episode 5's opening act unfolds, there's an unmistakable feeling that all these threads, the Empire's internal decay, the Foundation's inner conflict, and the rebellion's rise, are slowly weaving together. It's like watching storm clouds roll in from every direction, each one promising lightning strikes. And somewhere in the middle of all this chaos, hidden in the quiet moments and the shadows between scenes, lies the twist that will make this episode unforgettable. The question isn't just who will survive the coming storm. It's who will still be standing when the galaxy finally learns the truth. Brother Day has always ruled with the certainty of a man who believes his power is absolute, but in Episode 5 we see cracks in his armor like never before. The Genetic Dynasty's strength has always come from its unity, the unshakable bond between Cleon clones, each one raised to think, act, and rule as one unbroken line. But now that bond is fraying. Brother Dusk and Brother Dawn, once his closest allies in the throne's delicate dance, are no longer simply nodding along to his decisions. The air between them is sharp, filled with unspoken challenges and barely concealed suspicion. It's not just a clash of personalities anymore. It's a battle over the future of the Empire itself. Day makes a calculated move, one that should have cemented his dominance. He invites key political leaders from across the galaxy to the heart of Trantor, intending to showcase his control and intimidate his enemies. On the surface, the gathering is about unity, but beneath the polite smiles and carefully scripted speeches, it feels more like a battlefield without weapons. Eyes linger too long, coded phrases pass between diplomats, and alliances form in corners, where Day's watchful gaze can't quite reach. This is where the cracks become most visible, not in loud defiance, but in the quiet, subtle ways people begin preparing for a possible collapse. Brother Dusk, ever the historian of the dynasty, uses this moment to quietly remind Day that history has a way of punishing rulers who mistake fear for loyalty. His words are calm, almost casual. But the message lands with the weight of a warning. Fear can control people for a time, but it cannot hold an empire together forever. Brother Dawn, the youngest, watches the exchange like someone caught between two storms, unsure which one will destroy him first. There's a flicker of something in his eyes. Doubt, perhaps? Or maybe ambition, that hints his role in this power struggle might not be as passive as it seems, but the real danger comes from outside the throne room. Day's political maneuvering has stirred something he didn't anticipate. Whispers of dissent from factions that had long stayed silent. Old enemies who once feared the dynasty now see opportunity in its weakening state. Some are former allies, burned by broken promises. Others are opportunists, ready to claim a piece of the galaxy for themselves. And while Day focuses on the obvious threats, the more dangerous ones hide in plain sight, the kind who smile in public, but sharpen their knives in private. The tension reaches a breaking point during a closed council meeting. One of Day's most trusted advisors dares to question the long-term survival of the Cleon line, suggesting that perhaps it's time to adapt, even evolve. The suggestion is met with icy silence, but its impact is seismic. In a dynasty where change is seen as a weakness, even hinting at it is an act of rebellion. Day shuts the conversation down with his trademark authority, but the damage is done. The idea has been spoken aloud, and ideas have a way of surviving even when the speaker is silenced. By the end of this section, the Empire feels like a magnificent, towering statue, still beautiful and intimidating, but riddled with invisible cracks. One hard blow in the right place could bring it down, and whether that blow comes from the Foundation, the rebels, or even one of the Cleons themselves, it's clear the dynasty's golden age is slipping away. The seeds of betrayal have been planted, and in the dark corners of Trantor, they are already beginning to grow. For the Foundation. Episode 5 marks the moment when unity begins to splinter under the weight of impossible choices. For years, Hari Seldon's grand plan has been treated almost like a sacred text, a path so precise that any deviation could throw the galaxy into chaos. But now, that faith is starting to waver. The problem isn't just the external threat from the Empire. It's the growing realization among the leaders that the plan itself might no longer fit the reality they're facing. What happens when the map no longer matches the terrain? That question hangs heavy over every conversation, and the answers aren't coming easily. Gal Dornick, who has carried the burden of Seldon's vision, finds herself standing on a fragile line between belief and doubt. She knows the math, she knows the probabilities, but she also knows people, and people have a way of making choices that no equation can predict. Salvor Hardin, on the other hand, is running out of patience. Her instincts are screaming that the time for waiting has passed. To her, every day they spend debating is another day the Empire gains ground. Another day the rebellion risks being crushed. These two women respect each other deeply, but in Episode 5, their disagreements start to cut deeper than either of them expected. The Foundation's council becomes the stage for these clashes. Inside its chamber, voices rise and tempers flare, as leaders try to find a path forward. Some demand immediate action, a bold strike to cripple the Empire before it can adapt to the rebels' growing strength. Others argue for caution, reminding everyone of Seldon's warnings about acting too soon. Every argument feels like it could tip the balance, and there's no clear answer that will satisfy everyone. Beneath it all lies an unspoken fear. What if the plan has already failed, and none of them can see it yet? Hari Seldon himself, or rather the construct that carries his mind, seems to sense the danger. In private moments he's more cryptic than usual, dropping hints that there might be alternate paths to victory, paths he hadn't revealed before. This revelation rattles the council. If Seldon held back information once, what else might he be keeping from them now? Trust, once broken, is difficult to rebuild, and for some, this feels like a betrayal as damaging as anything the Empire could do. Outside the council, the Foundation's people feel the tension. Soldiers sharpen their weapons but don't yet know where they'll be sent. Scientists rush to perfect technologies that may never see battle. Even ordinary citizens can feel the shift in the air, the sense that history is turning, and no one knows which way it will land. It's as if the entire planet is holding its breath, waiting for the moment when decisions become irreversible. By the end of this section, the Foundation stands at a crossroads. The once clear lines of Selden's plan are now blurred. The leadership is divided, and the enemy grows stronger every day. Salvor pushes for decisive action, Gal insists on patience, and Hari hovers like a ghost caught between the two. Somewhere out there, the Empire and the Rebellion are moving their own pieces across the board, and the Foundation has to decide whether to stick to the script or throw it away entirely. Either choice could change the galaxy forever, but doing nothing might destroy them all. Asterisk. Far from the gleaming towers of Trantor and the guarded halls of the Foundation, the Outer Rim is burning, not with flames, but with determination. Episode 5 pulls back the curtain on the scattered cells of resistance that, until now, have operated like whispers in the dark. This time, those whispers swell into a roar. Across dusty outposts, forgotten mining colonies, and hidden asteroid bases, a network is forming, one built not on shared resources but on shared rage. The Empire has underestimated them for too long, and that mistake is about to cost dearly. The leader emerging from the shadows is not who anyone expected. This figure, shrouded in both mystery and charisma, is less a politician and more a survivor. They speak the language of the oppressed because they have lived it. Each rally they attend feels less like a meeting and more like a spark catching in dry grass, spreading faster than the Empire can stamp it out. No one says their name loudly, but their influence is undeniable. They've managed to do what others have failed to for decades, unite factions that once hated each other more than they hated the Empire. Pirates, smugglers, deserters, and freedom. Fighters now share the same war table. The most daring move of Episode 5 comes when the Resistance launches a covert mission into Imperial territory. Their target is not a city, a ship, or a military base. It's something far more dangerous. Knowledge. They infiltrate a high-security research station believed to house advanced Imperial technology that could tip the scales of war. The operation is silent, surgical. Every step feels like it could be the one that sets off an alarm, and the tension is almost unbearable. By the time they escape, they've secured a fragment of data, so explosive that it could change the course of the conflict entirely. What makes this revelation so chilling is what it implies. The Empire is not merely defending its rule, it is preparing for a kind of war the galaxy has never seen. The stolen data hints at weapons that defy known science, the kind that could wipe out entire planets in a single strike. It's a nightmare scenario, and yet the Resistance leader sees opportunity in it. With this knowledge, they can prepare, outmaneuver, and perhaps even turn the Empire's own power against them. But to do that, they'll need allies, and that means reaching out to the Foundation. Here's where the tension sharpens like a blade. The Foundation's leaders aren't sure whether they can trust the Resistance. To some, they're reckless fighters who will ignite a war before the galaxy is ready. To others, they're the only ones willing to act when hesitation could mean destruction. Salvor sees the alliance as essential. Gal sees it as a gamble with stakes too high to risk. Every moment spent debating is another moment the Empire closes. By the end of this section, the Outer Rim is no longer just a distant frontier. It's the heart of a growing storm. The Resistance has the will, the unity, and now, the secret that could shatter the Empire's advantage. But secrets have a way of spreading, and if the wrong person learns the truth, the rebellion's greatest weapon could become its undoing. Somewhere in the shadows, a hand is already moving to make sure that happens.